This is a House of Logic video about the Proxmox clustering technology. So we built a home lab environment as in previous videos, and at this point we can actually show that when we started moving the Lubuntu 2404, this has in fact completed the live migration successfully. There it is with its nice screensaver, and in fact if we just drop that out, we've experienced a very low amount of packet loss, which I suspect is probably more to do with my internet connection dropping out than anything. But it's it's been running for hours and hours and hours, hasn't been restarted. Used to be on the PVE 1 host and is now on PVE 2. So what we'll do as part of this is we're going to go and actually simulate a failure. So we built the cluster originally on PVE 1 as per the previous video. So on our top level host, because this is a nested virtualization environment, we are simply going to go and turn off this PVE 1 to simulate a failure. So PVE 1 should be stopping any second. There we go, it's off. PVE 1 over here, if we try and do anything, browse around here, we get a loading screen. We don't see any information. And in fact, if we refresh, we should get a timeout. Over on PVE 2, however, which is still quite happily up and running, it's actually automatically detected that PVE 1 has gone offline. And we still do see here that we have the PVCL1 cluster, and it says, well, it's currently reporting the actual host is offline. Obviously, you can't get to the actual machine, so we've got some stale information there in terms of the summary, and it's not something you're going to be able to configure. But as you can see, we built the cluster originally from one node, and adding the second node, it is still actually accessible, and we can continue to operate. So clearly, obviously, it does affect anything that's going to be running on that PVE 1 node, but otherwise it's actually fine. So it's a marked improvement over some other virtualization technologies, where you might actually find you have a central control node, and if that's down, then you're down to managing each host individually. So we're now going to turn PVE 1 back on and wait for that to come up. So I may speed the video up a little bit at this point. And it's reporting that it's back up. So let's hit refresh on there and see if we can get back in. So it's not taken very long at all. Yep, we're back up and running. Obviously, the Pi desktop, which is a Raspberry Pi desktop VM I've built in between the screen recording, has not automatically started, but that's a setting that you can actually set on each VM, and that's coming up now. So let's open the console on that one and just check. There we go, starting up nicely. Hit enter, and off it goes. Now, one thing that's actually interesting that we're going to cover off quickly here is to do with the way that disk images are handled. So something of a restriction in Proxmox, and I'm seeing if there is actually a way that you can get around this, is you've actually got local storage where you've got your ISO images. Now on our PVE 1 server, we've got a bunch of ISO images, including good old Hannah Montana Linux, which I can't seem to get working on here, but is probably a good thing for everybody's sanity. And then over on PVE 2, we have nothing for ISO images. So if we were to try and connect an ISO image onto the Lubuntu 2404, if we go to the actual VM, find the CD drive, go and try and choose an ISO image, choose the storage, so local storage, ISO image will come back with nothing. It's got absolutely nothing available to it. So that's something of a restriction at the moment, and I'm seeing if I can find a way to solve that as a problem. The other thing, of course, over here on the Pi desktop machine, if we go and select the ISO image within here and choose the local storage, and let's choose anything, so TempleOS, that's a bit crazy, but we'll go with it. We don't even need to run it, it's simply to have a mount point open. If we now go and try and actually migrate the Pi desktop machine, we have a link to this this bit of local storage here, and it's a restriction. Now, it actually actively says it can't migrate it because it's got this local CD and DVD. So it won't even let us do it. So if you're planning on live migrations, you need to make sure that you disconnect your ISOs or your physical media after use. If we flick that back to do not use any media, hit OK, and then we go back to the migrate option, then we have the option and we can actually kick that off. So yeah, let's do that one as well. So we'll end up with both VMs on the same host. And as previously, I'm not going to force anybody to sit here and watch through to the end of this video whilst a migration runs. But it's an important note that as a constraint, you're not actually able to have those ISOs connected and a migration run if it's on local storage. I suspect there probably is a way that you can do it. I've had a look into NFS, but NFS certainly straight out of the basic configuration didn't allow for ISOs to be uploaded to it. So there are ways that you can do shared storage. There's quite a lot of options around shared storage in Proxmox, in fact, but straight off the bat, shared storage for ISOs needs a little bit of research. So hopefully we'll pick this one up in a future video and work out what the best option is. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you fancy it. Well, hopefully it will help this channel a little bit, and we will catch you next time. Thanks very much. Bye now.